Hello everyone! Today we're going to be covering the absolute value symbol, and we're going to be going over order of operations again. So what I need you to do is what we've done each time. Go to the folder which you found this video and get the notes, print them out, or take them on a separate sheet of paper. Other than that, let's get started. So like I said, the main idea that we're going to be talking about today is absolute value. And absolute value can be described as the distance from 0 on a number line. Or another way to think about it is that we're going to take whatever number is inside the absolute value and we're going to remove the sign, and we're just looking at the magnitude, or just the number, instead of the positive or negative version. So now that we know what the absolute value, like what the idea behind it is, we're going to go through a couple of examples. So if you look on this paper, we're on the section where it says examples, and the directions are to evaluate each expression. If you see evaluate each expression, it means just simplify as far down as you possibly can. So for number 1, we have the absolute value of negative 13. So if we consider that the distance from 0 on a number line, we can draw a number line. Here is 0, and then we're going to go to negative 13. And we're looking for the distance here. But since we went 13 places to the left, we can say that the distance is going to be 13. So that means that the absolute value of negative 13 is just going to be a positive 13. And for number 2, we have the absolute value of 21. Well, 21 is 21 spaces away from 0. So that means that the absolute value of 21 is 21. Number 3, we have addition of absolute value problems. So we're going to take it one step at a time and work left to right. So we have the absolute value of negative 3. Well, that's equal to just 3 plus. Then we have the absolute value of negative 5. Well, the absolute value of negative 5 is positive 5. And finally, 3 plus 5 is 8, and 8 is our final answer. Moving on to number 4. Number 4, we have the absolute value of 9 plus the absolute value of negative 8. So again, work left to right and do each one, like take a single step at a time. So for the absolute value of 9, that's just going to be 9 plus the absolute value of negative 8, well, that's 8. And then we have 9 plus 8, which is 17, and 17 is our final answer for number 4. For number 5, we have the absolute value of negative 12 plus the absolute value of 15. The absolute value of negative 12 is just positive 12. And then we're adding the absolute value of 15, which is 15. And if we add those two things together, so 12 plus 15 gives us 27. Now if you look at number 6, we changed it just a little bit. So you can consider absolute value symbols to be like parentheses. So whenever we're following order of operations, we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. And that's the order in which we do it. So if we consider the absolute value symbols to be parentheses, we have to do whatever's inside the absolute value things first. So inside of the absolute value, we have 21 minus 17. And 21 minus 17 gives us a positive 4. And if we take the absolute value of positive 4, we get 4. And that's our answer for number 6. So again, we worked inside of the absolute value symbols. We took 21 minus 17. That gave us a positive 4. we took the absolute value of positive 4, and that gave us another positive 4. So our final answer was 4. Moving on to number 7, we have the absolute value of negative 11. Well, the absolute value of negative 11 is 11. Then we're subtracting the absolute value of negative 5. Well, the absolute value of negative 5 is just 5. So our problem is now 11 minus 5. And if we do that subtraction, we find that 11 minus 5 is 6. Number 8. We have the absolute value of 4 minus the absolute value of negative 4. Well, the absolute value of 4 is 4. Then we're subtracting. And we have the absolute value of negative 4. The absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4. So this problem now changes into 4 minus 4, which is 0. Next, on number 9, we have the absolute value of 15 minus 23. So in order to do that, again, we consider the absolute value symbols to be parentheses. So we work inside of the parentheses first. So we have 15 minus 23. That gives us a negative 8. And we're taking the absolute value of it. And the absolute value of negative 8 is just a positive 8. So positive 8 is our answer. For the last three, we have number 10 as the absolute value of 24 minus the absolute value of negative 15. So one step at a time, we have the absolute value of 24, which just gives us 24. Then we're subtracting, and the absolute value of negative 15 gives us just positive 15. So now we have 24 minus 15, which gives us a positive 9. And positive 9 is the answer to number 10. For number 11, we have the absolute value of 28 minus the absolute value of negative 26. We take it left to right, one step at a time. So we have the absolute value of 28, which gives us a positive 28, minus the absolute value of negative 26, which gives us a positive 26. And finally, we have 28 minus 26, which gives us a positive 2, and positive 2 is our answer for number 2, or number 11. Finally, number 12, we have the absolute value of negative 3 minus the absolute value of 19. Working from left to right, one step at a time, we have the absolute value of negative 3 is positive 3, and we're subtracting 19, because 19 is the absolute value of 19. Finally, we have 3 minus 19, which gives us a negative 16. Next, we're going to go over a reiteration of order of operations, since we've already talked about it a little bit. So we're just going to write these down, and I'm not really going to go into much detail about it. So, order of operations is how we simplify, expressions, or equations using a specific order. And as you know, that order is PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division, and then finally addition or subtraction. And what we're going to do is, of course, multiplication, division, and addition and subtraction. You have to go left to right. And we're going to add something to the parentheses part. and we're going to say any grouping symbol. So in this case, we would consider the absolute value symbols to be a grouping symbol. So if we move down, we're going to have a few examples that you have to use order of operations to solve. So the first thing that we have to do, we have to look at the parentheses, then exponents, multiplication, division, then addition or subtraction. So if we follow the rules, we're going to look for parentheses and exponents. If you look at number 13, we have parentheses, but there's nothing inside. It's just a 2. There's no operations inside, so we don't do anything with it yet. Exponents, I don't see any, so we can move on. Now we work on multiplication or division, and we start from left to right. So going from left to right, we have 7 plus 54 divided by 3, and that's the first thing we do. So what's 54 divided by 3? You should find that it's 18, and then we have the parentheses and 2. The next step, we're still on multiplication and division. So we're going to go over that again. So we have 7 plus, this time we have 18 multiplied by 2. Well, 18 multiplied by 2 gives us 36. And now, since we're done with multiplication and division, we can work on just the addition. So what's 7 plus 36? Well, you should say that's 43. And that's going to be your answer for number 13. For number 14, we have 17 minus 2 to the power of 5 divided by 4 plus 6. So, first thing we're going to do is look for parentheses. Since we don't have any parentheses, we can move on to exponents. This time we do have exponents, and it's 2 to the 5th. So that means that we're going to have 2 multiplied by itself 5 different times. So 2 to the 5th is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. But instead of doing that, we're just going to do it all at once. And we're going to say that 2 to the 5th, or 17 minus 2 to the 5th, 2 to the 5th changes to 32. And we're dividing that by 4. And we're adding 6. Next, we don't have any more exponents. So we move on to multiplication or division. Working from left to right, we have 17 minus 32 divided by 4 plus 6. So we're going to work on the 32 divided by 4. So we have 17 minus 32 divided by 4 gives us 8. And we're going to add 6. Now I don't see any more multiplication or division, so we can move on to addition or subtraction. Working from left to right, we have 17 minus 8, which gives us 9, and we're adding 6 to that. And 9 plus 6 gives us 15. And 15 is our answer for number 14. Number 15, we have 24 minus 4 squared times 3 plus 15. So again, using order of operations, we look for any parentheses. We don't have any parentheses, so we're going to move on to exponents. I do see an exponent here, and it's 4 squared, so that's the first thing we have to change. So we have 24 minus 4 squared just means 4 times 4, which is 16, times 3 plus 15. Next, we move on to multiplication and division, since there's not any more exponents. So the only multiplication and division I see is 16 multiplied by 3. So we have 24 minus 16 times 3 gives us 48, and we're going to add 15. And now all that's left is either addition or subtraction. So working left to right, we have 24 minus 48 That gives us a negative 24. And we're adding 15 to that. And negative 24 plus 15 gives us negative 9, which is your answer for number 15. So finally for this page, we have number 16, which is parentheses 7 minus 2 squared, parentheses, plus 17, all divided by negative 14 plus 2 times 5. And what we're going to do is we're going to work on the top first, and then we're going to work on the bottom. And we're going to take it one step at a time. So first thing we look at is parentheses. This one has parentheses. So we're going to look at the 7 minus 2 squared. What we have to do is change this first. So inside the parentheses, we have to look for more parentheses. And since there's not any more, we move on to exponents. And since we have an exponent on the 2, that's the first thing we have to change. So 2 squared, which means 2 times 2, changes into 4. So on top we have parentheses 7 minus 4. And then we add 17 to that. And that's over negative 14 plus, let's go ahead and do this multiplication, the 2 times 5. That changes to 10. And now we can work a little bit further. So inside the parentheses we have 7 minus 4. 7 minus 4 changes to 3, and we're adding 17. And on bottom we still have negative 14 plus 10. So now we have this addition that we can do. So 3 plus 17 gives us 20 over negative 14 plus 10 gives us a negative 4. And then since 20 divided by negative 4 gives us a whole number, we can say that 20 divided by negative 4 is negative 5. So negative 5 is our answer for number 16. So thank you for watching. I hope that you have a decent understanding of absolute value now. In order to receive your points for this video, I need you to take a picture of the completed notes and upload them to the Dropbox where you found this video. Make sure that you turn it in so I know that you've completed it, and I will see you in the next video.